Heroes Like Us is a series intended at sharing comic book characters from various backgrounds and identities. We won't always get everything right, so feel free to make amendments and corrections in the comments. They're always appreciated. What's not appreciated, however, is any form of hate speech or intolerance, so comments of that nature will be immediately deleted and those users blocked from this channel. This is a place of education and celebration. Welcome to I'm Your Target Demographic, and welcome to Heroes Like Us, our series where we take an identity or background, and then we look at comic book characters that have that identity. Today we are looking at gay superheroes. If you missed it, we already did a lesbian video with women who like women, and now we are doing men who like men. We are also doing bisexual, and we are doing gender fluid / transgender in the future. So this one is strictly men. To start us off with DC Comics, we're going to talk about the character called Bunker. His name is Miguel, and he's a member of the Teen Titans. And basically, he can kind of create almost like constructs, but on a smaller scale than someone like the Green Lanterns. But he can kind of create this violet constructs that can cover his hands or his feet. He can use it as a way to propel himself, but usually as a way to fight. So he creates these gloves that make his impact much harder. In terms of sexuality, Miguel was written in a much more positive way in terms of how he perceives himself. So he is always open, confident, honest, not at all worried about people's opinions of him, as opposed to some of these other characters that are worried constantly. They don't tell people, they're not out. Miguel is very much proud and out in the open about his sexuality. Up next from Marvel Comics, we've got a character called Northstar. And Northstar is one of the most prominent gay characters on this list because he had this extravagant wedding, and this was on the cover, it was an Astonishing X-Men, I believe, and it made national news because this was a huge deal. This was fairly recent, but Northstar was actually revealed as gay many, many, many years ago. Just looked it up, way back in 1992, he was revealed as gay. But recently he ended up marrying just a normal, everyday guy by the name of Kyle. But let's talk about what Northstar can do. Northstar, he has a twin sister, and together they could create this massive light blast. But on his own, he is fast, so he has kind of incredible speed, and he can fly. He did eventually learn to create kind of this concussion blast on his own without his sister Aurora, but it is less powerful when it's just him, which makes sense, I guess. Northstar has served both on the X-Men and on the Canadian team Alpha Flight. Up next from Marvel Comics, we've got the character known as Shatterstar. Shatterstar is a mutant, but he has all sorts of weapons and abilities that maybe aren't always connected to him being a mutant. So for example, he has swords that are actually kind of two swords with an electric charge that keeps anyone but him from basically using them. He has hollow bones, which allow him to kind of flip around, and he moves very quickly. But his actual power is to kind of create these shock waves, kind of this vibration from his body. He also learned to teleport, and it's through a long, complicated story, but he can teleport to people that he has a strong bond with. And this is a very small list, but if there's someone that he's connected to, he can teleport to their location. This drains him. He must rest for days, but it is something that he can do if he needs to. Shatterstar has been in a serious relationship with the next person on this list, another member of X Factor by the name of Richter. Julio Richter is a Marvel Comics character and mutant with the ability to channel basically earthquakes and seismic shocks through his body. So he often does this through his hands, where he can kind of let a little earthquake or tremor out through his hands. These sort of earthbound abilities makes him feel a strong connection to the planet, just like other elemental characters like Storm and Iceman. The way that they feel connected to all life, he feels that way to the very planet itself. We talked about Northstar, and he was kind of the first prominent gay character that was introduced, but Shatterstar and Richter share another monumental occasion, which is the first mainstream couple sharing a kiss in a mainstream comic book. Up next from Marvel Comics, we've got a character called Hulkling, and he goes by the name Teddy Altman on Earth. And why I say on Earth is because he is actually an alien, and he's actually a cross between a Kree and a Skrull. And Krees are incredibly strong, but Skrulls have the ability to shapeshift. So that is his main powers, that he can grow wings, he can change his appearance so he can look like a normal everyday person, but he often prefers to look like a teenage version of the Hulk, which is how he got the name the Hulkling. He serves on a team called the Young Avengers. This is where he met another character by the name of Wiccan. Wiccan was raised with the name William Kaplan, but Wiccan's origin is very complicated. That he is basically created by the Scarlet Witch as basically her son. So he's her son, but he is created by her mind, is the best I can understand / explain it to you. But he is very much real. His abilities are somewhat like hers. So she can kind of control probability and magic, and he does that as well. So he alters reality, often in small scale ways, but with the potential to alter reality on a massive way. Above just altering reality, he can also do things like conjure spells, teleport people, create force fields, a lot of things that are based in magic. Hence the name Wiccan. Wiccan and Hulkling have been in a relationship for a very long time. Up next from Marvel Comics is a character by the name of Anole, Victor Borkowski. And we talked about Anole a little bit when we did our Russian video. So he is, his parents are from Russia. You wouldn't really know it though, because his mutant ability changed his appearance in a way that he looks like a lizard. And a lot of his abilities are based in lizard physiology as well. So he has like a tongue that can kind of grab things. He can kind of crawl on walls. And he can regrow limbs. And so he lost an arm, and when it regrew, it was stronger and more powerful. When he was new to the X-Men, he kind of served under Northstar and saw Northstar as a role model and example, because Northstar is kind of open about his sexuality, where Anole, as kind of a young teenager, is very much still hesitant to share that part of his life with people and faces a lot of kind of discrimination from even his friends. So he saw Northstar as a mentor. Anole also jokes around a lot about wanting to leave the X-Men to go join the Young Avengers because of Wiccan and Hulkling. That he sees them as kindred spirits. He sees that they are kind of finding a home there, and he often misses out on that. So he jokes around about it, but there's probably a small part of him that would jump ship if he could. While those are the first batch that we're going to talk about here, there are other versions of popular characters that have been gay. So for example, in the Ultimate Universe, Colossus was gay. And so they just spun it a little bit where really that was just now a part of his identity. It wasn't a huge story point, but they made it that way. Another kind of version of a character is Iceman that, gosh, this gets confusing. There's some time travel in the original X-Men team, right? So like the core 5 from way back in the day were brought into the present. And so now there is an Iceman from then and an Iceman that is our present Iceman. And the Iceman from them has realized and kind of opened up to the fact that he is gay. And so that version of Iceman is, though the version of Iceman that we know hasn't seemed to show that side yet. So are there other gay characters that you want us to talk about? We'll probably do a part 2 someday. So are there characters we missed? Because if we did, just tell me in the comments and we will do our best to get to them. Thanks for watching Heroes Like Us. Hopefully this was helpful and or interesting, and we'll see you next time.